Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm here, Jessica McGovern, international multi-award winning portrait photographer, and I'm here today to talk to you about something that I see far too often, a huge mistake that so many photographers make, and it's so easy to avoid. So without further ado, let's get 5 minutes on the clock and get stuck in. If you haven't already, please do make sure you've hit the subscribe button because it helps me out and all that kind of good stuff. We release a video every single week on a Friday at 12 noon. So on my screen right now, you'll see a little picture of baby Beanie. This is baby Bright. She was about 6 months old at this point, and this is literally one of the only images I can find where you can see the area of the image clearly that I need to discuss. That's because usually my camera is lower to the floor with other foreground in the way. But that's not explaining what we're doing here, so let me set the scene. You've entered an image that you've retouched and edited into an awards, or you're submitting for a certification panel, maybe you're just putting it on Instagram. One of the biggest mistakes that you maybe are going to make, but definitely most photographers at some point or another, you're going to be a little bit sloppy with your retouching, and the main issues that you're going to have are to do with cleaning stuff up. If you take stuff out of an image, one of our 5 ways to remove things in Photoshop video, which I'll link above, or you're doing content-aware fill to make the image bigger, expand the scene itself, chances are you're going to be utilizing other areas of the image, or Photoshop will be, to fill in those gaps. And that is the start of this problem. So I'm sat there looking at these pictures coming through, and every single one of them, bar a handful, has this problem in it. And this just means that you're not being careful enough. So what do I mean by that? You can see Bright on the screen, and you can see that we can see, what? And you can see the floor line, okay? So you can see the floor, you can see some dead leaves and stuff. And let's say that I, as the photographer, was like, I want to remove this leaf. It could be anything. Don't get stuck on the fact that this is the example. So we go back and we go ahead and take that out. We'll whip it out. We've taken the leaf out. That leaf is no longer there, as you can see. The leaf's not here. Now, a lot of photographers are leaving their pictures like that because the leaf's gone and therefore it's not distracting anymore. They're exporting their pictures, finishing their retouching, and off they go. And they think no one's going to know that. Nobody's going to know. You're wrong. Okay, you're wrong. This is probably the main issue that I see. And basically what you've done is you've broken the focal plane. You've heard me talk about it before, monthly challenges, but it seems to be something that I repeat nearly every single month. So it is something that I need to go through in its own video. So in this instance, what we have in the image is an area of in focus bit, and then the foreground and the background. Okay, so we have the foreground blurring, getting sharper. Now it's sharp, and then it starts to fall off again, just because of my depth of field. So if I shoot this from higher up, I'll have more of the in focus bit because I can see more of it. If I get lower down, I get a lot less of it because that shrinks just visually in how we look at an image. Now, your depth of field is governed by lots of other things. We've talked about that before, so I'll put a video to depth of field above. But in this instance, what you've done is you've just broken straight through the middle of that and slapped a big old blur on it. Now that's bad. That's really, really bad, because mentally I'm looking at this image and going, what the heck happened here? Because this area should be sharp. My eye has found a problem, and I can spot this from zoomed out. You probably can as well. And I'm going, what's going on here? Why is this blurry? Because it shouldn't be. Okay, so unless you've got foreground covering that area of in focus, there is literally no excuse for breaking the focal plane. So that's number one. Error number 1 is really, really common, but error number 2 is probably on par with it, hence why I've sandwiched them both together inside this video. So error number 2 is on the screen right now. Can you spot it? So you can focus still on that leaf area because this is where we took the leaf out. Okay, so the leaves come out of here. We have a relatively consistent focal plane coming all the way across. So that can't be it. So what is it? Well, in this instance, we've got cloning repetition, which again is a hugely, hugely frequent error in photographers' work. And it just is caused by either content-aware filling something, and to fill it, it uses something from elsewhere, right? So you always want to go and check. It can also be caused by flipping one side of your background, so you've got a symmetrical scene. That will obviously create duplication, or it can also happen when you're just doing your cloning because you've not gone through and made them uneven. They're essentially clones, quite literally, of a detailed object that's recognizable. So in this instance, this section here is exactly the same as this section here. So you've done a really good job in this instance to keep your focal plane. You've kept the focus bit, the sharp bit, but what you've accidentally then gone ahead and done is you've created a duplication, right? You've got cloning, repetition happening in the scene. Both of these things are not good. You want to avoid them at all costs. Do everything you can to rebalance this in a way that does not include broken focal planes or bad repetition, which is one of the main reasons why you would shoot an empty shot in a scene, or at least another shot, so that you've got space to use if you need it. But if you were in this situation and you did want to take this leaf out, your best bet is actually to focus on the areas that are in focus, right? So you're still on your focal plane, but what you're looking for as a clone source or a similar kind of area is you're looking for something that doesn't really have any recognizable colors in it, any recognizable patterns, or any recognizable shapes. So you kind of want it to be as boring as possible, because then when you put it there, nobody is going to know. So if I was to use my lasso tool and just go ahead and do one of our 5 ways to remove things methods and select that, do a shift backspace and an enter to content aware fill, you can see how it fills that area with blurriness. Okay, so it's broken the focal plane because this area is sharper than this area. So you may well get away with using the healing brush tool, which, as you guys well know, is one of my favorite things, but you're going to end up with cloning repetition. We've got it here. We've got 2 little knobbly bits there, 2 little knobbly bits there. Cloning repetition, not good. So what else can you do? You're looking for a boring area and you're going to borrow that. Your alternative option is to actually work on mirroring. So you can still use your healing brush tool, maybe select this area, use a smaller sample, harden it up just a little bit, grab your clone source tool, go ahead and flip it on the horizontal axis, okay? And then when you're lining this up, you want to go side to side, and what you will end up with is, if we zoom out, it's not recognizable as a duplication because there's a mirror involved. You can also change the size, flip it vertically, and so on and so forth. But you want to make sure you retain your focal plane and you do not cause repetition. If you, when you do your retouching, make sure that you don't do those 2 things, then you can rest assured that your images are cleaner and better as a result. I'm really hoping that you've got everything you need from that. Utilize your cleanup tools and techniques, but also remember this in the back of your mind, and you shouldn't go too far wrong. If this video is helpful for you, I know it was short and sweet, but you know, we like it like that sometimes. Go ahead and put why it was helpful in the comments below, and I'll see you next week for another 5-Minute Friday.